Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Aaron B from the Black Astronauts Podcast. We had some technical difficulties last night recording that did not allow me to record the entire conversation, but the message was so strong that I still wanted to try and get it out there to you. So what's going to happen is you're going to fall right into the middle of conversation, and then we're going to go from there. It's about 25 to 30 minutes, so just bear with us. But we definitely wanted to touch on Trayvon Martin while it was still timely. So hopefully you guys enjoy. And as usual, leave us feedback. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. All right. Until next time, on with the show.
What's
not good enough?
It's not good enough for me for people that don't know how to fully engage and participate in the movement to just sit on the sideline and root us on in solidarity.
But that's our responsibility. But that's your responsibility as an educated black person to hold a community organized type of event where you tell people this is how you get involved in the political process. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
That's real.
You're speaking from a place of privilege.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If we don't get up in there with our privilege and say, hey, this is how you do it in these streets, then we can't really say anything about them not doing anything.
And you know what? You're going to have to hold that forum multiple times. When you hold the first one and don't nobody show up, you can't quit. Because ain't nobody going to show up. They ain't going to show up until like the three of y'all actually start some momentum.
You're going to have to make it a barbecue, have ribs. I'm just going to keep shit real. You're going to have some ribs. And then hand out some shit around. Right.
Afterward.
And I'm not saying that to be racist. Did that sound racist? I don't know. But
nah. But that, I make a lot of jokes, but I do this shit day in and day out. And it drives me crazy to people who want to ride in on a white horse and just kind of say, oh, well, all the community needs to do is this. And I'm like, y'all have no longevity. Mm-hmm. The truth of the matter is, even these churches, if churches was doing what they supposed to do with a church damn near on every single block, you wouldn't need businesses like mine because, the job will be getting done.
I just feel like everybody plays a part from the person that's on the block to the most astute, educated individual. I feel like if everybody plays their part, which they probably won't, so it'll be up to the chosen, people who take this as a learning moment and as a teaching lesson to first educate the people that they are around. I think that's where it should start. Educate the youth that's in your neighborhood or, that you encounter on a daily basis or, your niece or your nephew, and as you do that, then you expand out into the world and try to help other people. Because
wait, real quick, I got to stop you right there though. To educate, you have to first build some trust with somebody before you can even start talking about, oh, this is how I'm going to educate you. You know what I mean? And to me, that's what's missing. And, maybe it's not going to come from necessarily from the outside on a massive level, but unless you're willing to be in that community, I don't know. I don't think I talked about it on this on the podcast, but like there's this corner store that's not too far from where I work, and I mean it's scary as fuck. Like I mean, like the Reggies.
I got one of those by my house.
Shooting dice in front of the damn store, and I drive a Subaru. I drive up there, car just scream white male.
I mean, I always tease Rocket about the Subaru probably being the most Caucasian car you can buy. Like I don't think it gets any other than a Prius, which Blurtman is thinking about buying himself.
Man, when I get that Prius, it is y'all can't tell me nothing when I get this Prius.
I have arrived. But no, that's my point. The point I'm trying to make is, scared as shit, I had to go into that store, because I was like, all right, if I'm going to be authentic, if I'm going to ask for other people to get involved, I have to be involved myself. And the truth of the matter is the people who are going to change this community isn't going to be, Sadiddy, dude from the NAACP. It's going to be Leroy, the drug dealer. And unless I build a relationship with Leroy, I ain't going to know what's going on in the community. Real talk.
You're an outsider, even if you're black.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and you know, that's even a whole nother element, that just because we all black, we all in the same boat, because we're not. You know, so this work is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And it takes courage. And that's what I think that we're missing right now. We're missing the courage to get uncomfortable. We're missing the courage to say, you know what, I am hypocritical in a lot of circumstances.
Right.
I am imperfect. I do have my biases. I might say shit wrong, but you know what? I'm willing to stay at the table. You know,
and that's. I mean, that gets me. I really don't know why it bothers me. So it might be because I've spent different time in the trenches with some of this bullshit, and maybe that's why I have a very short threshold of annoyance with stuff like this. But I'm just very annoyed by it's the hysteria element. What do you call it? Disasterbation. It's like, you know, I'm mad at the news and the media for calling George Zimmerman white for a month and a half. You know what I'm saying? Because that distorted so much of the conversation. And I'm mad at them now for parading all these different people up there to say whatever the fuck crazy thing they can think of before they move on to another crazy person without ever saying anything. And I'm mad at all the Facebook posts that are saying stuff without saying much anything, because to me it's just distracting from doing actual work. And
but
I don't know.
This is the one thing that frustrates me, and take it how you will. Black people, we are not rioting. We are not going out. We are not burning shit down. You know why? Because we're civilized. I saw so many, the people I'm unfriended weren't just white people or people of different races. It was black people talking about, oh, burn it down. Burn what down, nigga? What are you burning it down? You're not that mad. You're fake. That's fake outrage right there.
Right. You know, and that was so funny is if you watched Fox News coverage of the situation, Fox News kept the camera on the crowd waiting for some shit.
Oh, they was waiting for it.
They were waiting for it. It's like, man, these niggas aren't rioting yet. What's the problem?
Even goes back to Fox News. Fox News is so out of touch. They don't know that we're not fucking rioting. Like they were waiting. And
no, they were inciting it. Is Couture how you pronounce Ann?
And Coulter.
Yeah, we'll fuck
when she tweets hallelujah about this, that's insightful. You want somebody to whoop your ass when you say stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, you'd have to take it there.
That's how she gets her money, man.
Yeah, fuck her, man.
Yeah,
I'm good on her.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I'm spent.
Well, I would like to say this. I know we're about to wrap it up, but I would like us to just all kind of just take a moment and really just kind of speak to, you know, what was the purpose for this show tonight? Now, for you personally, you know, there was a reason why all of us said we need to do a show tonight. What if there were one thing or whatever it may be for you that you said the reason why I had to do this tonight? I would just like to hear that.
Let me jump this off, because I had 2 points that I wanted to make that I just couldn't figure out how to fit in. But this is a good place to start. First, for me, was kind of building on Feek's point. Black men killing black men, to me, is a bigger issue than this. And anytime you can look at someone who looks like you and think this is an expendable life, you think the same thing about yourself. And until we start having that conversation, this conversation to me doesn't mean as much. I think it's a necessary conversation. But if I can't look at you and think that your life is worth something, then I don't necessarily think I can ask someone else to do that. Right. Secondly, I think that the conversation about racism is an important one. But I think the way certain people who are majority identified get around it is because they don't feel hatred. And I think there's hate-based racism, and I think there's fear-based racism. And what I got from the jury is that there was a fear. They imagined that, no, this couldn't be my son, because if my son looked like that, I'd be afraid of him. But they didn't have hatred in their heart for someone that looked like Trayvon. And so
they're completely unaware of that shit.
Absolutely. They can think, I don't hate this person. I'm not racist. No, but if you walked by that person, you'd be afraid. And so let's speak about how you can assume that you're not racist and have all these ideologies that are totally racist because there's some dynamics that you're not addressing in your implicit bias.
Wow. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. I wrote the Facebook post that got me to call everybody together. It started with, because I just had a son. It started with, if my son grows up and is shot, there's a 96% chance that his killer will look just like him. CNN won't cover it, and Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter will not explode in indignation over his loss or calls for justice of his killer. And I wanted to put that out there very much for the point that Candice just made, in that, the thing that frustrates me the most is a lot of people, and I understand that this is a necessary evil, and I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, but a lot of people, this was a shock to them. And this is like a point to rally behind. And that bothers me because it speaks to a unspoken lesser ideology that we have about ourselves, that we don't care about the loss of the lives of our children unless we can attach it to somebody trying to make us feel inferior or show that we're inferior. We can feel it and acknowledge it all day in the way we act, but if somebody says it out loud, if there's a direct representation of that, then suddenly we're ready to march. And that bothers me because that is a defeatist, quagmired response to the problem. And anybody that is angered by this situation, fine, cool. But if you are angered by this situation and this is your first time, and that's cool too, but you better not stop. There better not be any more surprises and any less. I don't care if you just got to black out your Facebook post, cool. But how about also not, going to World Star Hip Hop and giving them money for exploiting us? Because you best believe that fear that Candice is talking about, that shit comes from watching niggers fucking damn near kill each other for fun and yelling out World Star on camera. It comes from a lot of the shit we put out there without a second thought and then wonder why people profile us. So that was my main thing I wanted to get across. I had to get that off my chest.
I think it's perpetuated by it, but I don't necessarily think it comes from that.
But that doesn't come. It's perpetuated by it. There's like, I heard a song. I know this is a song you love, Candice. I don't trust that chick. You heard that yet?
How does Candice, it go?
I don't trust that. That's what it says. You'll love it when you hear it.
Wait, because I think I might know it. Hold on.
It's ridiculous.
It's
like Rocco.
Started talking about she don't trust me. I don't trust that bitch.
I don't trust that chick. Yeah, it's silly as hell and it's ridiculous. It's ratchet music. There's redeemable elements to the stuff that is not necessarily going to hold us in a positive light, like ratchet music, like some parts of hip hop, twerking. Twerking is connected to African dancing. People don't know that, but it is. I'm cool with that. But let's also recognize the danger and the hypocrisy inherent in some of those elements, and let's be willing to put in the work to counteract them. That's all I'm saying.
That's real.
So
I'll speak real quick if y'all don't mind.
Go ahead.
What I'll say is very. I take this whole situation very personal. So if there's anybody that's a young person out there, 19, 18, and, I know that's probably not who listens, but if you got a son, you got a daughter, talk to him. Talk to him, tell him what needs to be said, and I hate to say it, but when I had tears in my eyes last night thinking about my little brother and the fact that I haven't had this conversation with him, but I need to, and it's the world we're living in. Make sure you have that conversation. Make sure that, yes, unfairly, there is a double standard. You know what I'm saying? So and I'm not saying don't get out in the community, don't grind. If you get affected, Feek's absolutely right. If you mad now, be mad 5 years from now about the same situation. But talk to the young people in your life. Let them know. Hold them, mentor them, because who knows? Maybe Trayvon was going on a bad path, maybe he wasn't. But it looks like his parents were there for him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So make sure if you're an adult you do that. And that's really all I got to say. I'm real simple.
Can I just add, I'm so sorry, Polo, I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to say that when you said hold them, for me that resonated deeply. I went to church today, and actually my youngest sister, who is with child with a little boy, and her boyfriend were spending the night so that they could attend church with us in the morning when the verdict came out. And so I was having the conversation with them about it. We went to church, and my pastor asked all the young men 30 and under to come to the altar so that she could pray with them. And that act, the church's symbolic holding of these young men, resonated with my soul, because she had everybody hug them on their way back to their seats. Like, don't let a black man pass you without giving him a hug on the way to their seats. Yeah. And I don't know if these young men have been touched outside of a sexual context without that. You know what I mean? Because touch is so healing, and we're not even holding our boys. That makes people uncomfortable to think about the fact that our young men need to be held. I think that's so beautiful. I just thank you for saying that.
Yeah. One real quick thing, and I know we gotta go, but I'm gonna get real personal right now, and a lot of y'all might not know, but I had a brother. He has a twin, but my brother passed away when I was 15. Actually, I was 16. He was in a car accident. He had ran away from home. It was some stuff that happened. He was going the wrong path, and the reason I say hold him is because the last words I said to my brother were, "Get your shit together." So obviously, I didn't do it early enough. You know what I'm saying? So when I say hold them, I mean it. You know what I'm saying? It's coming from a place that's deep inside. So, I felt like I needed to share that.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
I mean, I would just say, right now, I believe that this moment has the potential to be one of those moments that separates today from tomorrow. And I think it's up to us to really decide what that actually means. There was a moment for me where I was like, oh shit, this is Emmett Till all over again. And I remember in history class thinking about, what did the community do when that happened with Emmett Till? And for me, this is, for whatever reason, this particular situation feels like that for me. And I want my daughter to be able to know that, in her history class, that her father was a part of the people who said, no, something will change, and I'm going to be a part of that change. I'm going to stand up in the face of fear, because it is fear. And actually say, you know what, something needs to change. For me, this conversation is a call to courage. It's time for us to stop being so comfortable. It's time for us to stop being hypnotized by television, to stop romanticizing movements, to know that any real change that's going to occur is going to be slow, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be pretty. You are going to get into arguments with people. You are going to find out that you are a hypocrite. You are going to find out that the way that you thought justice was, it is not the case. But will you stay at the table? Will you have enough courage to stay at the table? So the reason why I wanted to be a part of this conversation is because I wanted to say, hey, to anyone who might have a chance to hear this, even if it's not today, to know that at some point you were asked to have enough courage, to be vulnerable, to actually do the work to change your community.
All right. For me, this really resonated deep with me as well. I went to church as well today, just because I just needed to hear something, and I remember I was talking to my wife today, and I was telling her, and it kind of piggybacks on what Candice was saying. Women are not the only ones that likes to hear that they're loved. I mean, men, we kind of hide behind that rough exterior, we hard or whatever, but, we like to feel that we're loved as well, and held and, appreciated, and just a myriad of things. And I was seeing, it kind of brought it home with what Candice said, that some men probably haven't been held. Or haven't been told that they were loved, and not just by a wife or a girlfriend, but a mother, a aunt, a grandmother, just to feel that. I mean, because it was some men in there. I remember our pastor did an altar call, and he was asking people, like, you know, for those men who feel like their life isn't worth anything. You know, and it was a lot of men that came to the altar. I mean, because you have this ultimate feeling of desperation. Like, what is my life worth? It was older men came. It was even younger, you know, young kids coming to the altar. You know, it's just disheartening. But I feel like it is a call to action. I feel like this should be a teachable moment, not just for African Americans, but for the world. And I feel like we should not let this fall by the wayside. So my reason of, you know, doing the show was pretty much to not, you know, to kind of do the rally cry. Like, I mean, we cannot let this keep happening, either it being black on black or whatever. We cannot let this keep on, this senseless crime keep continuing and not do anything about it, because it will continue and we will just continue doing the same thing. So that's my reason.
Respect. I think this has been a beautiful show. We've touched some areas that were kind of touchy. But in the end, this is what needed to be said from our perspective. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. But don't send that shit to our email. Not this one. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not getting read. I'm just being honest with you. Like any other time I would say, hey, we need your feedback. This time, if it's positive. If you say, hey, I'm out here working in the community, great. But if you not, and all you want to do is bash, or you want to, you know, go in on somebody, fuck you. Because that's not what this show is about. So
and I approve of that message.
Right. But this has been a very, very special episode of the Black Astronauts podcast. First of all, let's give a slow clap to our beautiful guest, Candice, for holding it down.
Word.
Held her own, held it down, came with some insightful information. So thank you. Candice, again, where can they find you at?
You guys can find me at www.sexandthesisters.wordpress.com. And I'll be happy to see you there, commenting and talking about sister-specific sex stuff.
Where she writes with her sisters about sex.
You gotta get that one in.
It's not a porn site.
It's not. There is some erotic poetry and literature in the special section, but the whole is about sexuality and nuances involved in that.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody got anything to say? Anything? Close it out. Where can they find you at? Anything like that? They kind of know.
Yeah, they know.
We'll get back into a regular show this week sometime. But from the Black Astronauts podcast, thank you. It's peace.
All right, peace.
Despair's running rampant, and I don't understand it. You need your life tuned up, you don't need a mechanic. It really ain't that bad, so it ain't no need to panic. You already got the tools, you can fix it if you choose. So people on the side of the road leave me confused, and I just sit there and get some green for all my blues. That's what I do. I sit back and roll some trees up, then I'm right back, getting to it, put my sleeves up. Picture me trying to stay focused without an icon, trying to roll the grass while I'm watching for the pythons. I let the lames beat themselves like bygones. I'm trying to score, so I'm trying to pass the pylon. Across the plain, then I'm passing one. I roll another, then I'm ashing one. Triple threat, and I ain't took a dribble yet. Watching how it's guarding me. Being great is hard to be. I mean, if you're trying to do something in life, you're gonna come across opposition. The easy road ain't always the best road. Sometimes you might have to take that scenic route. Listen up. Nah, don't give up. Life is like a blunt, and so I faced it. And if it's something on my plate, I'm trying to taste it. Can't say your dreams failed if you never chased it. The worst thing to do with your potential is to waste it. Get out the box, can't be confined to where they put you. Cause that's the quickest way to be a woulda, shoulda, coulda. I seen despair get in a good soul and turn it bad. And leave the shell behind, something like a hermit crab. It was the same shit that nearly drove me insane. Protect your neck, I guarantee that you gon' need your brain. Open up your eyes and I bet that you won't see the same. The light light at the end of your tunnel could be a train, or it could be the sun. You gotta be the one to get there. You never find out if you sit there. Going through it be what you do if you try to know. And if it is a train, take it as your time to go. I mean, we all gonna die one day, right? So what's the use of spending your life already dead? You still moving, pursuing what you want to do. You might as well dig a hole and bury yourself. And that's real.
I said in. I said in. I said in.